and Governor Quinn. I strongly support bringing Gitmo detainees to Illinois. I think it's a great idea. If anything, I believe it'll make the United States safer, Illinois safer, closing Guantanamo Bay and moving it to Illinois. You don't have that stigma of the torture and these pictures that often the jihadists, they use that as a recruiting tool and saying, hey, look, this is what's going on. And it gives Illinois the opportunity to show the world, to show the world of a fair and impartial system of, we're not going to allow you to come in and terrorize our people, and we're going to hold you accountable, but at the same time, we're going to do it in a very humane fashion.
So you wouldn't be concerned with the safety issues such as not the people inside the prison, but what about friends, relatives, or people that would move into the area to visit them? Because once they get into the United States, and we do decide to make a criminal act, then they have certain rights, and some of those rights would be to, of course, have visitors, because that would come under, the laws of our country. So, would you have any concern about the safety of people in the Thompson, Sauk Valley area, where people would be moving in that perhaps may not have the best intentions at heart?
Well, I don't believe that they're going to come from halfway across the world, from the Middle East to wherever they may come from, just so that they wouldn't establish a residence here just so that they can visit their people in prison. And even if they were to come here, I think that it would make Thompson especially one of the safest places in the United States, because they're not going to want to sacrifice their own people. The way that their religion believes, it's okay to kill yourself, for the grace of Allah. However, you're not supposed to kill your brother. So I think it actually makes it a little bit safer. And even before this whole Thompson Center, Gitmo moving here became an issue, we've had attacks, or we've had people that have plotted attacks on Illinois and the Sears Tower. So Chicago, just as a whole, is going to be a target regardless, because we have one of the tallest buildings in the world here in the city of Chicago, and it's something that would be a big press getter in the eyes of the terrorists to attack the Sears Tower, because that's like a national monument practically as far as buildings go. That's one of our most prized possessions in the United States, and to attack that is an attack on the American way of life. I believe that if they were going to do an attack on Illinois, they would do an attack regardless of what was going on, because the people were moved from Gitmo to Illinois.
Okay. So you think that there is a significant difference between having a prison down in Cuba and having a prison in Thompson, as far as the way other people would look at it?
Yes, and I mean, another thing is that there hasn't been any terrorist attacks near Gitmo as it currently is, and that's a real sore for the terrorists, that their brethren are being housed there and being kept, by the West. And I think that if they were going to attack in retaliation for a prison being located somewhere, that they would have attacked, somewhere in Cuba or around Gitmo,
Okay. Let's talk about immigration policy.
Okay.
What is your thoughts? And I guess I'll put this in a little different perspective. We have about 10 million illegal aliens in the United States. We let about 1 million in legally a year in the United States. A lot of those people come from anywhere from Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, Latin America, Sub-Saharan Africa. And I guess the question is do you believe in amnesty for the 10 million that are already here, or do you believe that they should have to wait their turn like those people in, say, Southeast Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, South America, and Eastern Europe are?
Well, in a perfect world, yes, they should wait their turn in line. However, we have so many illegal immigrants here right now that it was just, the task would be so daunting, and just to send them all back. And the types, they've built lives here, and they have family and loved ones here. And I just can't see breaking up families and sending all of them back. We need to secure the border. I understand people's concerns that they're putting a strain on our resources, and I agree with that. And I understand, where people are coming from, that it's often harder for them as tax-paying Americans to get these services, and then they see people that appear that they pay a lot less in taxes, that they are receiving these services.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I definitely, I would support something along the lines of, paying a $500 fine, making sure that, you have to pass an English proficiency test and make sure everybody speaks the English as well.
What about, so you're saying $500 would be like a tax to become an American citizen, or is
Well, it would be more of a fine for, just to give them, granted, I admit it's a bit of a slap on the wrist, but, we also need to remember that all of us, the majority of us, are here as immigrants, and our families came here with the vision of creating a better life for their family and for future generations of their family. My family came here, my great-grandparents migrated here from Italy in 1918 with that dream. In the middle of the century, my father's side came, on my father's mother had came to the United States. My father's actually American Indian, so our roots go way back. We've been here for quite some time. Also, my wife, Elizabeth, her family, they migrated here in 1976. And, they've all of them have been very productive members of society. My grandmother, which was first generation, she's 72 years old, and she still wants to work. She's a hard-working person, and ultimately, I believe this issue is geared toward, Mexico and the problem that we have with people from Mexico migrating here illegally. And, people, they want a better life. And I think it's very important that at the end of the day, we remember that they are coming here for that promise of a better life for them and future generations of their family. And we need to be compassionate as Americans to their quest.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the Second Amendment. What's your views on the Second Amendment?
Well, I strongly support the Second Amendment. I know that's not too common to hear from a Democrat. I'm also a member of the NRA, so.
Well, I know Chicago is probably going to be in front of the Supreme Court soon.
Yes.
They've got a case pending there after the D.C. law got struck down by the Supreme Court. If that's struck down, would you support a concealed carry law in the state of Illinois?
Quite possibly. I would strongly support it. I don't know if it would be right for densely populated areas, but definitely in more sprawling areas, that's definitely something that I would like. And me, for one, I don't believe that the city of Chicago is a perfect example of that gun control doesn't work. They have some of the strictest gun control laws in the country, yet they have one of the highest murder rates in the nation. And current gun control laws only limit citizens' rights and protecting them, and protection is the key to both sides of this issue.
Okay. All right. The next question is, do you believe it right for taxpayer dollars to fund practices which many taxpayers feel is morally offensive? Why or why not?
Well, I do believe it is right to fund practices that are good for society as a whole. We need to do what is best for people as individuals, which in turn supports a healthier, more robust society overall.
Okay, so specifically, I'll go more specific on that. Abortion is a very controversial issue. It's a lightning rod issue.
Yes.
There are quite a few people that believe that it is immoral, that it's killing a human. And I guess the question would be directly, would you support Illinois or the federal government or either, or funding abortions for people?
Yes. Yes and no, because we have to remember that individuals' lives are at stake as well. I think that it's important to clarify, first of all, that me personally, I don't support abortion, and I would never personally have an abortion. But regardless of my beliefs, I don't believe that we can legislate abortion out of existence. It's going to happen regardless. I believe is what we need to concentrate our efforts on. Instead of going back and forth whether it should be legal or not, is let's prevent young ladies from putting themselves in these positions. I am strongly against late-term abortions. I believe that if an abortion should happen to take place, it should be done in the first trimester, really as early as possible. I strongly support the morning after pill. I don't